This month marks the 2-year anniversary of the Greater Kansas City Chamber of Commerce's initiative to make Kansas City America's most entrepreneurial city. And today on the episode of Top of Mind, we're going to highlight one of the initiatives that has helped move this initiative along, the Access for Entrepreneurs program, a program where entrepreneurs in Kansas City get access to some of the top CEOs and business leaders in Kansas City. So on today's Top of Mind episode, Access for Entrepreneurs. I'm Cameron Cushman, and this is Top of Mind. We got to see the program in action firsthand when we stopped by a few weeks ago and dropped in on Bob Bernstein, the founder of Beauty Brands, detailing his entrepreneurial journey.
And that was in the beauty business. And so I founded Beauty Brands and became a national chain. There still is no one out there doing what we're doing in the beauty field. And we're selling professional beauty products, hair mainly. We do most of our business in the hair arena, but we also do skin care and nail care. So, but doing everything, you could walk into Beauty Brands and you could get everything done in one place, and we open 7 days a week. We take care of the customer, we make sure there's a wonderful experience there. A lot of what I learned from the Walmart experience, a lot of what I learned from McDonald's, and what I learned from so many Blockbuster was applied to this, and I was able to do it. Now, beauty, I know nothing about beauty. Today, I know nothing about beauty. I mean, if you tell me about a product, I really don't know a lot about it, but I was at least somewhat intelligent enough to hire people who did know it.
We talked with several of the entrepreneurs, asking what they thought was the biggest takeaway from the program.
They've been all invaluable. I'll tell you, I had one where I was marginal about going, and I went, and I was like, I left that meeting going, I will never miss one of these, because there's never an opportunity again. I might not ever have this opportunity again to meet these people in this type of atmosphere.
Entrepreneurs asked questions about sales and funding and shared stories of their own successes and difficulties.
You know, we're going through the fundraising phase now, so we're trying to understand what that means. And so when you're out there by yourself, especially if you've never raised funds, which I've never done personally, so being the leader of the ship, I've got to guide that path for our team. So being in the same room with people who are doing the same thing, fundraising specifically, has been really helpful just to understand that it can happen. Here are the resources, here are bounce some ideas off each other.
We sat down with the founder and CEO of Opus Communications, Jack Hayhow, to hear how the idea for the Access to Entrepreneurs program got started.
We were working in the Chamber's Small, Diverse, and Emerging Council, trying to determine where the Chamber could make the greatest contribution to startups and the entrepreneurial community in Kansas City. And among the members of the subcommittee, of the Emerging Business subcommittee, this idea for Access for Entrepreneurs came up. And the idea was that we would have a monthly lunch that would connect the highest potential entrepreneurs in Kansas City with senior executives from successful local companies. The idea being that the entrepreneurs might receive assistance and advice and connections that they couldn't otherwise get, and that the senior executives could tap into the energy and the ideas of the most dynamic entrepreneurs and startups in Kansas City. So we decided to test it on a pilot basis to see if these two groups who usually don't cross paths could in fact contribute to one another.
Do you think that the local Chamber of Commerce was the right organization to lead a program like this?
I think the Chamber might have been the only organization that could do this particular task as well as it needed to be done. The Chamber is intimately connected with large companies in Kansas City and in the Kansas City region, and has access to the most senior executives there. they can also, the Chamber can also reach out to other entrepreneurial organizations in Kansas City to facilitate this connection. So short answer is, I think the Chamber was uniquely positioned to make this endeavor come to fruition.
Entrepreneurs rarely look to the Chamber of Commerce for help. So we sat down with the president of Kansas City's Chamber of Commerce, Jim Heater, to see how he's trying to change that perception. From the entrepreneurial perspective, every city in the country has a Chamber of Commerce. Entrepreneurs don't think of the Chamber of Commerce as somebody that can help them. How have you tried to change that perception through a program like Access for Entrepreneurs?
Well, we've done a couple of things with the Greater Kansas City Chamber of Commerce that maybe make us a little different in terms of entrepreneurial and emerging companies. One is that we've made it very clear that we consider this one of our region's most important priorities. It's very clear, and statistics demonstrate this, that 80% of new jobs are created by companies which are in the first 5 years of their existence. So in terms of the growth of your regional or metropolitan economy, entrepreneurism and new companies, emerging companies is really where it is, and we recognize that. So that's one of the reasons we've made one of our big goals to be making Kansas City one of America's most entrepreneurial cities, and that's why we've embarked on programs like Access to Entrepreneurs.
Do you think this is a program that other chambers across the country can replicate or should replicate?
I think it's a terrific program, and I think other chambers can and should if they share the kinds of objectives that our chamber shares in terms of making their community more entrepreneurial and providing the kind of entrepreneurial infrastructure that makes their community a great place to start a company and grow a company. If they share that objective, it'd be hard to beat a program like Access to Entrepreneurs. It's great for the entrepreneurs who participate in it. It's also great for the CEOs who lead the discussions. They gain a lot from it. Plus, there's sort of the cross-pollination. You get big company CEOs meeting startup and entrepreneurial CEOs or company founders whom they otherwise might not cross paths with. So it's very much a win-win-win situation for the community.
We looked to former Access presenter and president of UMB Financial Services, Peter De Silva, to see what CEOs are getting out of the event.
I got great insights. I got great insights into their struggles. We talked about lending, for example, and those darn banks just won't lend. Well, it was a good conversation about the challenges for a bank that's highly regulated to lend to small businesses that have no collateral, have no cash flow, and really want us to lend on an idea. That's a tough thing for us to do. So one of the things I learned is that, our bank can't just say, or shouldn't just say, no, we can't lend you money. One of the roles we can play is a facilitator of credit, and that we can find other ways to help fund these young organizations. And so whether it's through our SBIC, here at the bank, which is a small business pool that we have here at the bank, or it's making other kinds of connections, we can play a useful role in helping to connect them to credit. We've been involved, as you know, in the private equity space, trying to we're not raising capital, but help others raise capital. We've been involved in trying to connect entrepreneurs to those that have capital. We can play those kinds of roles. We're not going to be able to bank every early stage company. That's not generally the role of big, large, highly regulated financial institutions, but we can certainly connect them, and I intend to try and do that.
Now, do you think that CEOs, here in Kansas City or across the country, are they hesitant to spend time with startups, or do you think that in a program like this, they enjoy the exposure to startups?
Well, I can't speak for all of them. I can only speak for myself and the few that I've spoken to who've been involved with Access for Entrepreneurs. They love it. They love it because it's a completely different perspective on business, quite honestly. And I was so excited the other day to read in the newspaper, the Kansas City Business Journal, about one of the challenges that we're having in Kansas City with entrepreneurs. And the challenge is this, that a lot of folks are going to start their careers in an entrepreneurial way, and established companies like my own are having difficulty finding talent. I'm okay with that. We need to bring more talent into Kansas City. We need to make sure we're an attractive place for young people and young entrepreneurs to be. But I was okay with that. I actually took a little point of pride and said, if people are taking risks and individuals are out starting companies, and Cerner and UMB and Garmin and others are having difficulty attracting talent, to me that just means we need more. And so, it has been a great experience from day one being involved with the Big Five. A great experience for me to get to know a whole group of people I didn't know before we started, a whole subculture that exists within our community, and to get to know people who I believe many of whom will be the future business leaders of Kansas City.
Whereas I didn't even know what an entrepreneur was. I found that out after I am one, you know, and so I didn't know what it was. So I just knew that I wanted to be on my own and do my own thing, and I started.
How can you implement this program in your own city?